dear children and staff, what I can see here, teachers. It's a wonderful morning here and the breeze is lovely. Do you all agree with me? Yes. Nice. First of all, I must compliment the excellent show put up by the cadets. Your marching is really nice. At your age, I don't know whether I could do the same. Very smart. I was particularly impressed by the poem. Very good. Because these kind of things, the activities like poems and creativity, can churn out motivation to others as well to perform, fight for the country. So good, well done. And the anchor and the compare and the introduction, excellent work, all the cadets. And I can see all bright eyes here. So the future of our country is very bright, I can tell you that. Can anybody tell me? Okay, can anybody tell me what is written on top? Touch the sky with glory. What does it mean? Yeah, go ahead.
Jain sir, I am Rakesh of grade 7, Viveca School of Excellence. It is the motto of Indian Air Force.
Excellent. And from where has it been derived? Anybody knows? From Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Nabha Sparsham Deeptam. Well done. Please sit. So it says, touch the sky with glory, and I wish you all that you touch, okay, your careers with glory. Alright? You can see there Nabha Sparsham Deeptam at the bottom. This is the motto of the Indian Air Force. Okay. Today we will start with a story. Stories are interesting because all children like stories, and I am sure all of you like stories as well. Right? Yes. Excellent. So here I will tell you a story of a small child. A child living in New Delhi, his father took him to the Republic Day fly past. And there he saw the thunderous fighters during the fly past. And he decided that this is what he wanted to do in life. Fly the fighters and serve the country. So with passion and enthusiasm, integrity of purpose and single-minded focus, he worked towards achieving his goal. So what we see here is, finally, he had a dream. So each one of you can have a dream, an inspiration, and then work towards making your dream come true. And finally live your dream. And work ceases to be work, and life becomes an adventure thereafter. You find a purpose in life. It's very important for everybody to find your purpose in life. Our friend, the child, when he grew up, he was ready to join the Indian Air Force. He got a call letter, and prior to going for the interview, his leg got injured, and it got injured so badly that he could barely walk. And during the interview, during the physical fitness, when you have hurdles, which I am sure most of you would know, there was one test wherein there is a ditch. You have to jump, catch a rope, and then go across. Do you think he managed to do that? He managed to do it. Because of his determination. When you have a dream, when you have a passion, you will have obstacles like this, wherein there will be some injury, or there may not be an injury physically, or some mental injury, we can say, like somebody passing away in the family or some issue in the family. That is also a kind of an injury, not physical but mental. But to overcome such obstacles, we need to be strong. You need resolve. And if you have a dream and your passion is to achieve something, then you will be able to overcome these things. So he managed to do it. Did he feel the pain? He did not feel the pain. He managed to clear the physical fitness test also and the interview. So he cleared the interview. So what we learn is obstacles and hurdles are a given in life. If you plan to achieve something, you will have obstacles. But it is important to overcome the obstacles. Your mental strength, resolve will help you overcome these obstacles. So challenges will be there, and when you overcome challenges, that is when you feel more satisfied. So he cleared his interview and he had to go for his medicals. And for flying branch medicals, it goes on for almost a week. So during the medical test, they informed him that there was something wrong with his eyes. So he came back home very dejected. He told his parents and he felt that was the end of life. Imagine you cleared everything, but you now have an obstacle or a wall which you feel has crushed your dreams. So his parents told him, do not get dejected, there is nothing wrong with your eyes, we'll get your eyes checked. And during those times in Delhi, All India Institute of Medical Sciences was #1 hospital. So appointment was taken and his eyes were checked. Fortunately, his eyes were okay. Then another appointment with a visiting doctor who had come from US was taken and it was understood that his eyes were okay. So subsequently, an appeal was made to the Indian Air Force and he was selected. So there will come a time in your life wherein you feel that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. That you hit a wall and that is the end. So never give up. Hope. You will be a winner. So having cleared his medicals, interview and everything, he got inducted in the Indian Air Force and he was undergoing training. And during those times, training used to be very tough. Almost 50% of the cadets didn't make it to the flying branch. Grounding was so much. Because the standards required from the flight cadets were very high. So you are given about 8 to 10 flights with an instructor. And if you don't show your capability to take the aircraft alone for a solo flight, then you are sent back home. Then maybe you join some other branch, but not the flying branch. So almost 50% of the cadets were grounded. So the atmosphere was tense, there was a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. There were moments wherein the cadets thought, should we give up? That was the situation. But did our friend give up? Definitely not, because it was his dream, it was his passion. This was the aircraft which he was supposed to fly as a flight cadet in his training. And we all know that with passion and perseverance, does anybody know what is perseverance? Can anybody tell me? Yeah, please.
Then Kat Palas, 9th grade BSF Training School. Perseverance means going after something with full determination, even though it's too difficult to do.
Excellent, excellent. Anybody wants to add anything? I think excellent. Very well said. I am happy that the standard of the student is so high. I must really compliment. So what happens is, when the Indian Air Force sets very high standards, you also set very high standards for yourself in professional life as well as in terms of ethics. Ethics are extremely important because it builds your character. It's actually more important than your professional life. Ethics are probably to be on top of your list, to be a good human being first. So he became resilient and very confident. Because once you go through tough training conditions, you become tough yourself. And here I have covered some of the considerations and some of the situations wherein there was a distress kind of a situation. So one of those conditions are an emergency condition which we call in the Indian Air Force, wherein the aircraft has some kind of an emergency due to some technical fault or due to multiple factors like the weather being bad, technical fault, further aggravated, okay, with other factors. Okay, I'll cover the second one, avionics failure, dark night over sea. Dark night over sea means when you fly you can see light, trees and other features, but when you're flying over the sea at night, what do you see? Can anybody tell me? What will you see? Darkness, right? So will you see anything? Nothing. So he is flying over the sea in dark night. That means there is no moonlight. Amavasya or whatever you call. Yeah, and it's like going into a cave. Everybody knows cave?
Yes, sir.
Can you see your hand if you put your hand like that? Can you see your hand in a cave? That is the situation. So he is flying with reference to his instruments, and suddenly the head-up display, there was a jitter, and then the head-up display did not function normally. So now there is a problem about navigation as well as to fly the aircraft. So it's a very grim situation. He's almost 200-300 miles away from the coast into the sea. Fortunately, the training was so good that he always used to check how to return back to his base. So that means the direction, the time required, everything is already calculated and continuously computed in his mind. And he is checking while he is going away from the coast, he is checking, okay, where am I with respect to the base. Because of the training, all these things are imbibed. So luckily for him, he remembered, he turned towards his base, started climbing from lower levels gradually and selected the course towards the base. Manually on the compass, he started coming closer to coast. And when he started coming closer to the coast, this was of Mumbai. Okay, he was flying from Pune at that point of time. And then he saw lights and subsequently managed to recover the aircraft. So you can imagine, so such a grim situation, how to recover the aircraft. So here is a situation which has been presented in terms of an aircraft and an emergency. But it can happen to anybody in any field. What we call as crisis, situation of distress or crisis. So how do you handle that situation, even if you are in corporate world? These are the Jaguar aircraft flying over the sea. And who is flying in the one aircraft on the left? Firstly, any crisis situation, what is important is calmness of mind. Your mind should be at peace. Only then you will be able to analyze the situation, calculate, and then be able to take the right decision. Okay, so first thing is calmness of mind, then presence of mind. Okay, can anybody tell me what is presence of mind? Yeah, please.
Then, sir, I am at Sukhdev Chaudhary, update 9 years is school. Sir, here the presence of mind, it should be think on our feet. It means whatever around us, we have to create a solution to that situation.
Very good, excellent. Please sit. You have to be alive to the situation. You should be aware what has happened and what are the external factors, what are the internal factors, And with respect to that, with the dynamic situation, how will you take your further course of action? Okay. Finally, situational awareness. That is what will help you recover about other aircraft. Where is your base? How to return? What direction to go? How will you communicate to recover the aircraft? So he managed to recover the aircraft because of all these factors which has been inculcated during the course of training as well as constant practice as well. So now we'll come to Kargil War. So Kargil War, today we are here, we are talking about Kargil Vijay Divas. So let's take some time to talk about this. And the Kargil War has been covered very nicely, okay, in a short description. But I'll go a little further into it and then come to the Air Force part. Okay, firstly what happened was, in February itself, there was incursion. And subsequently we came to know through shepherds who informed that there are intruders into our country. And subsequently the Indian Army launched operation. Now here you must understand, the enemy is sitting at height on top of a hill and you are going up the hill. So you are actually setting targets to the enemy and he is already calculated and he knows what to do. It's a pre-planned situation. So sitting on top, he is taking aim at each and every fellow and firing. You can see what kind of disadvantage was there for the Indian Army soldiers. That means you are going up the hill and knowing very well that you may not return. To look at the courage, look at the valor of the soldiers. All of them have families at home. They have children, wives, parents and everything. But they chose to serve the motherland, to evict the intruders. They pressed on, continued to fight. And subsequently the Indian Air Force was brought in. And what can Indian Air Force do? Because Indian Air Force is already at height, they are flying and then coming to carry out the attack. But was it very easy in the initial part? No. Why? Because no Air Force in the world had fought a war at the heights where the Kargil War actually took place. And the terrain, if you had a bomb which would be fired at a target in planes, and if it falls, let's say 10 meters away, 20 meters away, the target will get destroyed. Why? Because the effect will be there. But on top of a hill, if there is a target and the bomb falls 10 meters away, it will fall into the valley. It will not hit the target. So there will be no destruction. So this kind of a war has not been ever fought in the world. So initially, the Indian Air Force learned to adapt. Initially, the bombs which were dropped were normal general purpose bombs and there were errors. So they fell a little bit away, did not destroy the target. Then we used GPS aided bombs. GPS aided bombs, can anybody tell me what are those? Yeah. Yeah, good. Very good. Sit down. Same. Okay, satellites give position of the target. So the bomb has a system to use the information and go and strike the target. But those times, the GPS satellites were by USA. But did they give us the precision code? They refused to give us the precision code. What happens is there is error already built in. So the bombs would not strike the target because we did not get accurate information from the satellites and because the USA as such did not give us the information. They vetoed. In a way it was good because subsequently we launched our own satellites because we understood this fact that nobody is reliable. We have to trust ourselves, and Gagan was launched initially. Gagan, if you had heard, okay, that was to give the correction from these satellites to negate the errors. And now actually we have our own satellites known as IRNSS, okay, which we also call as NAVIC. So that actually helped in Op Sindur because we had extremely accurate information because these are our satellites. So in a way we must thank USA for not giving the. So then if we didn't get the accurate information for bombs, how did we fire? We used laser guided bombs. Can anybody tell me what is a laser guided bomb? Yeah.
There is a hand-cut Kutsavi of grade 9 PFA Senate School. Laser-guided bombs are the bombs which are guided through lasers. These are lasers point to a specific location and the bomb can strike the place.
Please sit down. Excellent. I must really compliment on the knowledge of the students, cadets, extremely good knowledge. Okay, very accurately described. Okay, that is how. That means you point your laser at the target is illuminated, and when you fire a laser guided bomb, it takes the information and then follows a trajectory and strikes the target very accurately. So that is how we destroyed the targets, logistics and the bunkers, Tiger Hill, Tuloling and all this, and we won the Kargil war. Because we hit them from the top, we made them run, and they had no place to hide. They were decimated. They had no choice but to lose the war. So that's how we were victorious in Kargil. Okay. So today we must salute the courage and bravery of our Indian soldiers. We must acknowledge the professionalism of the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army. And that's why this day is special, Kargil Vijay Divas. Here I'll come back to our story of our gentleman who's now become a gentleman from a child. He was to go on a mission for the Kargil war. So one day prior, he was thinking, tomorrow I have to go for the war. I will fire weapons, and these weapons can actually cause a lot of harm. Lot of civilians can also die. Innocent people can die. It is not the right thing. If I get shot down, then what will happen to my family? So many thoughts were going on in his mind. His mind was not steady. It was something like what Arjun faced in Mahabharata when he saw his uncles and his relatives as across whom he had to fight against. So that time there was Krishna who showed him the right path. But here, how did he find the right path? There was a patrol which went to find out the location of the enemy, and Major Saurabh Kalia led the patrol. Subsequently, they were captured and tortured and killed, and their bodies were mutilated. When the information reached, that is the time all doubts cleared. And then our friend also decided that it is time to teach the enemy a lesson. Mind became absolutely fresh and he was ready for the mission. So that is how he was ready for the mission for Kargil war the next day. This is the Jaguar dropping weapons. I will also cover a small operation which was undertaken when he became the chief operations officer in Ladakh sector. The Chinese carried out an aggression in a place called Chumar. You can see Chumar here, everybody can see in black. That is where the 500 Chinese came inside our territory, and the elevation was close to 15,500 feet. So what it means is, at those heights, the oxygen is less. So your body capacity actually the performance reduces as compared to in planes. The atmospheric pressure is also less. The winds are bone-chilling winds, what we call as extremely cold. So in those conditions, our soldiers had to face the Chinese army. And the understanding was that we will not use weapons. So you stand there in front of them and then push them back. So during those times, the support had to be given to the soldiers standing there. And then firstly, understand the intention of the enemy. How to understand the intention of the enemy? You see the build-up behind. That tells you for how long they are planning to stay or push forward. So you launch unmanned aerial vehicles or drones to know what is happening behind. That is, gather intelligence. So you launch surveillance aircraft like Su-30 Jaguars to take photographs to be analyzed. And then you support the men by supplying rations, carrying out cash and water, food, medical aid, and further course of action. So I must say that with extreme courage and bravery, the Chinese were pushed back after a few days without a single shot being fired, just because of the leadership and courage of the Indian Armed Forces. Now I'll cover one very interesting incident which took place in Ladakh. With this I'll skip. There were floods in a village. Now this village was with Pakistan earlier. And after one of the wars, either 65 or 71, it came to India. So now it was in India. However, the people were still pro-Pakistan. Their mind was still with Pakistan and not towards India. So when the floods were there, our friend who was the chief operations officer launched helicopters and rescued many of the people from that place in Ladakh sector. So after the rescue was completed, the people started shouting, Hindustan Zindabad, Hindustan Zindabad. So their mind changed totally and they became pro-India. So you can see how certain good deeds like rescue can change the mindset of the entire village. So this is the goodwill generated. And finally, what is the essence of life? It's in a short form, I'll just say. There is a very nice Sanskrit shloka, okay, which captures the essence of life as per me, which is nice to know. Vidya dadati vinayam, vinayat yati patratam, patratvat dhanam apnoti, dhanat dharmah tata sukham. What it means is Vidya dadati vinayam. True knowledge provides humility. Everybody understands humility? Okay, namrata, being humble. Vinayat yati patratam. That means with true knowledge and humility, you become worthy or capable. Patratvat dhanam apnoti. Having become worthy or capable, you have the ability to earn wealth. Dhanat dharmah tata sukham. So once you earn wealth, you should serve yourself and the society. So serving the society, so you become capable of serving the society. Once you serve the community or the society or the needy or help them do righteous deeds, then tada sukham. That is when you get sukha, or that is when you get eternal happiness or bliss. So in your careers, most of you will grow up and do well in your life. In fact, everybody will do well in your life, whatever profession you choose, whatever you do. So you will earn wealth, serve yourself, at the same time serve your society. So that is when you are actually going to get eternal happiness. So this is what it means. Some photographs for you. Who is the person in center? Okay. Jamnagar. Taking over as commanding officer. This is Ladakh, Chief Operations Officer at Ladakh. Excellent. This is going for a mission. What you see here is the anti-G suit from waist, and on top is the Mavest. You can see oxygen and everything out there, helmet. This is at Kargil. Let's see this one. This is the Jaguar. This is my squadron. I have finished